Monday, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome to Grace and Gossip. I am your host, Christal XO, and I'm excited to be here with you guys on Monday. Hey, Drizzy, welcome. Welcome. I hope everyone had an amazing resurrection weekend. I had a very busy one. You guys know we locked in on Friday, and we did a lot of conversation. We had a hilarious conversation about the Never Ever Mets. But Saturday, my girlfriends and I started this new business called Sweet Tea and Magnolias, and we did a cowboy event. So our people, the people, us, we are all into this new fad of embracing like this Western lifestyle. But for me, it's and my girlfriends that I did this with, Chantal and Melissa. I think some of you guys got a chance to meet them when I went to the Houston Rodeo, and they were there with me. But we've been riding horses. Horses has been a part of my life forever, at least like for the past 10, 15 years. And my girlfriend Melissa, that's actually how I met her at the barn. We both boarded our horses at the same location, and we met years ago, became really good friends. And then my other girlfriend, Chantal, she actually came from Pensacola, Florida, but actually a little town outside of that, and she is definitely country to her bone. So I'm probably the least country out of the three of us, because I didn't grow up necessarily in the country. It's between Toledo and Tulsa. Tulsa was the country, but we didn't live in the country. We lived in the city in Tulsa, but I always loved horses. So we have been doing this for years, riding horses, doing trail rides. Can I tell you guys, that is some of the most fun I have ever had, riding your horse all day and then camping out. I do a bougie camp. I don't do I don't rough it, but I do a little bougie camp. But I tied my horse up. I didn't have Zuri at that time. I had Paris. Tied her up overnight, and being able to wake up in the morning and go outside and see her there was the most fun. I mean, it was just a lot of fun. So we did this event. Shout out to Shar Bates and Pony. They had an event and right outside of Atlanta titled Cowboys and Creatives. Cowboys and Creatives. So we did that event on Saturday. And can I tell you all, if I ever thought that maybe, my lipstick is doing something funny. If I ever thought that maybe, age is nothing but a number, you stay outside from 10 to 12, and you will learn that age is not just a number. It's the truth. It's a real thing. So I'm still recovering. I took Easter off. I took Resurrection Sunday off. I did not go to church. I did not do anything. I laid in the bed all day. I prayed to my Lord and Savior, but I did not get up and participate in any of the festivities. We didn't have any eggs. We didn't have any Easter. And honestly, you guys, that actually probably is one of my favorite times to go to church, just because I love the fanfare. I love the pomp and circumstance of the big hat and, just the whole Easter get up. I love it. But I could not move. I could not move all day yesterday. I could not move. So, yeah, I'm here today. I'm kind of back, but not all the way. But it was a good time. A lot of people now have embraced the Western idea, but they don't really. I'm not sure if they really understand. People weren't there actually dressed to ride horses. They were dressed to mimic what they feel like Beyonce wants them to wear to her upcoming concert. And they were definitely prepared to do the hook of Boots on the Ground. Not the entire song. Most of our brothers and sisters don't know the entire song, but they were definitely ready with the fans for the where them fans at, right? So it was a time. It was a time. But there's one thing about our people. You give us something. You give us a gimmick, and we are all over it. We're all over it. There were pink glitter boots. There were corsets. There were, it was a mixture of things that people should not have had on, and things that looked interesting, and very little sustainable Western wear. But yes, hey, Ryan, we love a theme. We will take a theme and twist it and turn it until it has uh, until it is no more. That is what we will do. You know what? I do have some pictures. I will put up a reel later on YouTube. So make sure, for those of you that are subscribed, you will see that. But yes, and then I think on my Instagram, I have the video, because we have this outdoor porta potty that is like a luxury porta potty. Because for me, I don't know about you all, but you let me know. And especially, hey, Jacob, hey, Ryan, my Rai is here. You guys let me know if, when you do outdoor events, for me, like if I do R&B Soul Picnic or One Music Fest or one of the big outdoor festivals, I'm good until I'm not. I'm good until I need to use the restroom, and then I'm going home, because I'm not using that porta potty. I'm not doing it. And so that's why we came up with our luxury porta potty. Hey, Sean, I need to talk to you, actually. I owe you a conversation, because we definitely want to, I'll reach out to you in just a bit. Yes, luxury porta potty, but Haitian Empress, don't try. I know if anybody's going to have something to say, it's you. But what I can tell you is that the ladies loved it, and some of the germaphobe gentlemen loved it. So with our porta potties, you can actually walk inside. You walk inside, it's air conditioner. There's the toilet flushes with a foot pedal flush. We had mints. We had breath freshening mouthwash for you. We had deodorant, spray deodorant, because we were outside. And, it was a lot going on. And so we basically had a great time with people patronizing our luxury porta potties. You walked up a set of stairs, and it actually looked like one of the ladies, it looks like a hotel bathroom. Super cute. But I definitely would not do anything else, because like I said, whenever I go to those events, whenever I have to use the bathroom, I leave. Yes, we are not living in the 1800s. And you know what? A lot of those cowboys, some of the actual, because they were probably out of the 1,500 people that were there, probably 15% of them were actual genuine cowboys. So I know for real cowboys, the men are going to go by a tree. I'm married to a Southern guy. My husband grew up in South Carolina, and we live on 5 acres, and he will be outside at our house. And instead of coming in the house, we'll go by a bush or a tree. And I'll say, babe, just go into the house. And he's like, this is my land, and I use it. So, hey, do you, sir. But I'm always going to come inside, and we enjoyed providing that for the ladies that were there. And like I said, most people weren't even real cowboys anyway. They weren't even real Southern folks anyway. They were just people wanting to be a part of it. But it was a good time. Yes, there was a sink there as well. And most importantly, ladies, a mirror. You go in this. First of all, I don't even know, because I have never went in, because the whole idea of the outdoor porta potty is just disgusting to me. But there's no mirror. So not only do you smell what happened before you, and before that, and before that, you also can't see what happens. So it was so funny, because when we first started, we charged $10 for the whole day. So $10 got you a band. You could use the luxury porta potties. So in the beginning of the day, we opened at 12. Some people are like, pay to use the bathroom? I wish I would. I said, okay, no worries. My partner was like, okay, this is not for everybody. This is for the queens. Not every queen is meant to sit on the throne. Some, please go use the free porta potty. So I respect your hustle, but girl, I ain't paying you to use the bathroom. Literally within hours, almost every naysayer had come back and let me pay can I get a band? $10. And they did. See, Ryan, it's worth it. I thought so. Yes. And Jacob, a lot of the guys bought the wristbands for their wives. I'm streaming we're doing YouTube and Facebook like we always do, Haitian Empress. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's something happening different on YouTube. Let me make sure that everything is straight. Because tonight we got a lot to talk about. I swear I don't even have any wine today. I didn't even get to go to the store and get my wine because I really wanted to have some wine. I don't have it, but we got a lot to talk about anyway. So anyway, I enjoyed it. If you get a chance to attend one of those events, make sure you have comfortable shoes. You know, again, you guys know I'm all for looking cute. I believe in it. I stand on it. However, if you're going to be outside in the dirt, there's no steps, there was no concrete, it was grass and dirt. Wearing heels is ridiculous. First of all, you're going to twist your ankle. Second of all, you're going to get your heels dirty and disgusting. And it's just not going to be comfortable. And there's nothing that looks more ridiculous than someone walking around trying to be cute and their feet hurt. And out where we were outside on 70 acres. There was no place to, like, unless you had a chair and then sitting down in that chair on the dirt, like, you know. So some of the girls have some lessons to learn. I did not take Zuri, guys. I was going to take Zuri, and then I thought about it. And I'm glad I didn't take Zuri because there were only about 3 or 4 horses there, which meant a lot of people. And Zuri is super cute. You guys know I had her hair braided. I braided her hair up the day before, so it'd be super wavy and curly, kind of like my locks. And I knew that people were going to want to ride her, but I don't want nobody riding my girl, okay? Nobody, because I don't know if they, you know, somebody do something, hurt my baby, I'll be ready to tear the whole thing down and burn everybody. So I did not take Zuri on this one, but I may take her another time. But, you know, it just, because most people didn't have horses anyway. So there were so many people wanted to ride horses, and, you know, there weren't enough horses there. So yeah, my girlfriend was not going to be taking around people. She doesn't have the back for that. She, you know, I ride her, my daughter rides her, but we don't, you know, we just don't have random people riding my girl. Can't have that. So yeah, definitely, as Jacob says, you have to have chairs and tents. Definitely need a tent for that sun, and lots of water and fruit. And a lot of people did not know that. So we were there most of the day, came back Sunday, and I could not move. But I am here with you guys, of course, on Monday, and I'm so glad to see people here tuning in. Please say hello in the chat if you are here, and let me know what you did for Easter. Did you go? Did you get a chance to dress up? Did you wear your hat? Did you get into the Easter service? Haitian Empress says Zuri is no neighborhood sugar pie. Yes, I've already got one animal that has, you know, that has been compromised. Can you guys imagine if I took Zuri out there? God forbid she would be in heat and there'd be some random horse. It's already bad enough that we got some puppies here that we don't, that their father lives around on the other side of the tracks. Oh, Jacob says, I'm a California country boy born and raised. South Carolina, that's where my husband is from. Orangeburg, South Carolina. That sounds nice, though. Easter Sunday full of family and blessings. That's beautiful. Okay, Ryan, we're getting ready to get into it. You just already put it up here because tonight we're going to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta. The 2 things we're going to talk about tonight is Real Housewives of Atlanta and also the Shannon Sharpe situation. And, you know, I know he's on a reality show, but I just think this is such an interesting case. And I think things are really changing. And so I want to talk about a little bit about what's going on with Shannon Sharpe. As you guys know, he has Club Shay Shay, one of the platforms that I really respect. And it's weird because I never thought a football player would have such, you know, amazing conversations. But it's obvious that there was a space missing in the, you know, talk atmosphere or talk sphere, because Club Shay Shay is probably like my favorite, you know, podcast, you know, to listen to, because Shannon, I think the beautiful thing about it, I think we are in a space where people don't want fake, they just want real. And I think Shannon is just 100% real. His conversation, you know, he may sound simple at times, he may sound relatable at times, he may sound silly at times, but people love it. And I think I really like it as well. I do want to say, I also think this is an example of, for all of us to be aware of, sometimes when you are walking in your purpose and you're doing something that God has blessed you to do or ordained you to do, the enemy is always going to come. And so, true to Jacob, I agree with you, Jacob Anderson. He says, I knew this was coming when Shannon got that $100 million contract. So for those of you that don't know, Shannon was negotiating this deal. Now, this thing, Asian Empress, yes, ma'am. This podcast, to me, he owes a lot of his success to Cat Williams, because Cat Williams was one of the first guests on his podcast initially. And that conversation just opened the door for celebrities to come on, celebrities and influencers to come on and have very honest, just real conversations, right? But one interview set the tone. That Cat Williams interview last year at the top of the year set the tone for all the other interviews that have come through. People felt comfortable. People appreciated the fact that Shannon really welcomed him and allowed him to speak his piece. Cat really, really spoke his piece. That's probably one of the most historic interviews ever. And so I think that, like I said, I think Shannon owes a lot of the success of the platform to that interview. But it has continued to be a great platform. And so he was in the midst of negotiating for a $100 million deal. Now, for those of you that don't know, Shannon Sharpe was a Hall of Famer. He is a Hall of Famer. He's one of those franchise players that everybody that's into sports knows his name. If I know your name, and I'm not really a football person like that, but for those, when the name spills over to pop culture, that's when you are a franchise player. Like Deion Sanders, everybody knows who he is, even though he is, he got his start playing sports. When there are certain ones that Lawrence Taylor, Michael Vick, that you just know those names, even though Bo Jackson, even though you may not be into football like that. I don't know nothing about no stats. I don't even really know the position that Shannon Sharpe played. I don't know it. Let me not say really know. I don't know what position he played. I know nothing. Hey, twin, I know you can tell me. You could tell me what position Shannon Sharpe played and who he was with for the majority of his time in the league. But that's not really important to this. Russell Wilson is that, but only, I think, because of Ciara. I don't know if Russell Wilson would have been such a big part of pop culture if he didn't marry Ciara, because when he was married to that white girl, we didn't know who he was. But I'm just saying, I think Ciara is a part of his pop culture fame, at least on the urban side, because I didn't know him. Michael Strahan is another one, and he went on to do big things, of course, as a broadcaster. And there's quite a few, but when you look at like how many football players there are not that many that cross over like that. So my point in saying all this is that Shannon Sharpe's podcast, him speaking to people and interviewing celebrities, has the ability to make him much more money than his football career ever did. And he had an amazing football career. So I just, I wanted to bring that up because I just think that for all of us, we need to remember that no matter what has happened in your first chapter, God can turn things around and bless you in a second chapter more than you ever could have imagined. And I know for myself, sometimes I thought, maybe it's too late for me to do certain things, or maybe I wouldn't be able to have a certain type of success that I was looking at. But this is another example that your latter end can be greater than your beginning. So just want to remind everybody that you can have an amazing beginning or a bad beginning or a difficult beginning. It does not matter. God is able to turn it around in your favor to where at your second or third win can be even better than your beginning. And so for Shannon to make more money talking to people, can you imagine? Like, this is a football player that probably was not, I just don't see him as being the most eloquent of players, Deion Sanders was always very personable, very very commercial, right? Shannon Sharpe was more of like the player, but he has had this amazing transformation. So as he's going into this negotiation for this $100 million, he gets a lawsuit. Now, I would also be remiss if I did not bring up that a few months ago, the years have been moving very quickly since COVID, but earlier this year, I believe, there was an audio recording leaked of Shannon in a intimate encounter with another person, right? We don't know who it was. All we could hear, and that was just very strange that he went live. His phone went live, and you could hear, the interaction, the conversation around the interaction. But we did, and he claimed that his phone accidentally went live. Then he claimed that his phone was hacked, and all these things, all this very horrible explanations that a reputable PR person would not have advised him to do, saying that your phone was hacked, and that no, all that was really bad. And Ryan says her name was Michelle, but do we know for sure? Because we just don't know for sure. We allegedly, her name was Michelle. Let's say that. Allegedly, her name was Michelle, and I've heard a lot. It's just, I don't even want to go into what I've heard, but I'm sure you've heard that as well, Ryan. So allegedly, this was all a mistake. But it just didn't look good because it sounded wild, literally. And he was, Jacob, hold on now. Let's get into that. But I didn't know about that. It was not a good look. So after this situation with the $100 million contract, today, Shannon was accused of sexual assault and battery with was the recipient of a $50 million civil lawsuit. So, of course, with everything going on, and I mean, realistically, the situation with Diddy, the situation with Harp, all this from the Me movement up until now, there has been an awakening of women and men that refuse to remain silent in the face of sexual assault. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? I think that if people are assaulted, they definitely should speak up. I personally don't always understand why there's civil cases, because I feel like some of these should be criminal cases. But we do know that criminal cases do not get the same amount. Do not have the lucrative financial benefit that civil cases do. Also, it is a lot more difficult to prove a criminal case than it is a civil case, right? So a lot of times there is that situation where people feel like they don't have enough evidence to hold them 100% accountable in a criminal court of law, but there is enough evidence to hold them liable in a civil court, right? So I want to be honest and just be fair in saying that. However, the lawsuit was filed on Easter Sunday. The devil is busy. On Easter Sunday, the lawsuit was filed, and she said this Jane Doe says that she was in a relationship with Sharpe for nearly 2 years, and it began as a rocky consensual relationship. I'm not exactly sure what that means. The woman is seeking $50 million in damages. She met Sharpe at a gym in 2023 when she was 19 years old, and alleges in the lawsuit that Sharpe, who was 56, sexually assaulted her twice, once in October of 2024 and again in January of 2025. So Shannon Sharpe definitely immediately became angry, and he starts to bluster a lot. Even like when when Chad asked him about his situation, he started to bluster. He blusters a lot. It's a lot of, but he's, he says this is all a lie. This is not true. This is not true. Now, why I wanted to bring this to the conversation tonight is because his lawyers acted very quickly. His lawyer is Lanny J. Davis, and his lawyer released a series of text messages from this young woman to Shannon. Now, initially in the lawsuit, she filed anonymously. And I'm not sure, because I'm not a legal person. I am a I'm a publicist. I'm still a publicist, but I don't do as much as I used to do in that space. But I am assuming there was some reason why his lawyer was able to release these text messages from this young lady whose name is Gabriela Zuniga. And these text messages start in October of 2023. So that does line up with the lawsuit. But these text messages are definitely, in my opinion, they're incriminating. I'm just going to read them to you all, and you all can make your opinion, because we are just all objectively having a conversation. We don't know. We are not a court of law. But it does sound very strange for you to say, I know you missed this big juicy ASS. I need 25,000 for each cheek. I know that the young women are a little different today. I take that into consideration, but that is what that sounds to me. That sounds like an escort situation. That doesn't sound like a person that you're attracted to. That sounds like she was not attracted to this 56-year-old man that's wealthy, but she wanted, yes, ma'am, 25,000 per cheek is what the text message says. And then another text message says, I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're effing me. Another text message says, only if you put that baby gravy in me, then you can do whatever you want to me. Then she says, I want to put my tongue in your behind, the expletive, and marry you. She says, that's my daddy. I want you to put a big black baby in me. You better crave it, because you're going to be stuck with it for life after you put a big black baby in me. This is disgusting. This is disgusting. And it's a lot more of that. Yes, baby gravy is what the text messages said. Now, again, that is a lot. That is a lot. But I think that, to me, just from the non-judicial ear that I have, it sounds like they had an understanding that he would pay for play, pay to play. Is it a freak off? I feel like this year and last year, they're just so much, it continues to be uncovered on how the rich and famous play, right? And maybe it's not even just the rich and famous. Maybe it's everyone plays like this, just at different levels, right? So maybe if you work at UPS, you can't afford to do, you're not going to get a 19-year-old talking about she wants to get 25,000 per cheek. Maybe she just, wants you to pay for her to get her nails done. I don't know. But this is the problem. I think there's two things, and I'm just going to be, again, this is just my opinion. This is just my opinion, and I can say these thoughts do represent the channel because it's my channel. But it's not Bible, right? But a 56-year-old Shannon Sharpe has to know that a 19-year-old Gabriela Zuniga, that sounds very swirly. I don't know what she looks like. We don't have a picture as of yet. That probably will be released before the end of the night. But he's got to know that young woman, which to me, 19 is not an adult. A 19-year-old cannot go to war. A 19-year-old cannot even buy liquor. You know, that's a problem. He's got to know that the only interest in him from a 19-year-old would be because of what he has. So he could not play innocent in that, right? Now, she is 19, which is of legal consenting age for intercourse. And her text messages are saying a lot of very graphic, disgusting things. And when I say disgusting, I'm referring to the racial epithets that are being exchanged in those text messages. If you're into whatever you're into is fine. Everybody has the right to be into whatever they're into. But for her to make those type of racial, mentions is unsettling to me. And some of them were released before, and it looks like, okay, actually this starts in August of 2026. So it starts in October of, 2024, I'm sorry. It starts in October of 2023 and it goes through. So he's not innocent because he knows what this woman is saying and he's still okay with interacting with her. To me, that's a huge issue. That's an issue. That's a huge issue. And it just does not say that there is a victim, a total victim. I do think, okay, Ryan, thank you for that. Ryan says race play is a kink. Ryan, you should join me in this conversation. You should join me. If I send you this link, will you come on and talk with me? Because Ryan, does news, and so I think he would be great to join me in this conversation today. And then we can definitely kiki about these housewives because I have some tea. I have some tea that we can discuss. I'm going to text you the link to join if you're able to. And if you are, please join Grace and Gossip if you are able to, Ryan. Okay, so anyway, I just have a problem. I have a problem with it. I have a problem with him being okay with that conversation. I'm a little concerned about why she feels comfortable filing a $50 million lawsuit after mentioning money to him in their play. I don't know how it went from 25 per cheek to 50 million, but probably what happened is other people get involved. And when you have a person like a Shannon Sharpe, and you tell a lawyer that you have the ability to sue him, then there's probably all types of people that want to, be involved with that. And the price gets definitely driven up from 25,000 per cheek. But this young lady was never interested in a relationship with him. But I just don't understand why he would ever think that she would be. Like, why do older gentlemen think these young beautiful women that has nothing in common with him other than her love, her appreciation for his financial portfolio? They both have an appreciation for his financial portfolio. That's all they have in common. That's all they have in common. He wants her body because he's a nasty old man, and she wants his money because she's a gold digging chick. And it's just, it goes wrong every single time. But even if there's four different options here, right? So it could be wrong that she has decided to target him as someone that she can get some money out of, right? That could be wrong, right? It also could be wrong that he is okay with giving up payment and using her, right? Using her body and paying when he wants and then treating her badly. He could have treated her in a way that was physically damaging to her, that physically was hurtful to her. We don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios that could have happened in this situation, but in all the different scenarios, it's kind of difficult for me to see either of them as a true victim. I feel like fair exchange is no robbery. And if you want someone for their body and their youth, and you don't value them as a person, and they want you for your money, and they don't value you as a person, then someone's going to get hurt. And when that happens, neither of you had pure intentions. Neither of you had pure intentions. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? And I think that when you have someone that is having conversation like this online, right? I think he's a very intelligent man. A lot of you have brought up the fact that he, was a commentator for the NFL, and also had the show with Skip Bayless until he quit. And yes, absolutely. I think he's a very intelligent man at this point in his life. He's also 56, which means he's lived a little bit, right? So he's learned some things. He's been around. So I think he should know that any young woman that is saying to you, I want your big black baby, that is a sign to get the hell away. Who keeps interacting with someone that says that? That's strange to me. I can compare the two, run that back, because I'm doing it. I'm not sure if that's Scorpio Mo or C Boogie, but I think the two are the same. I think he knew, and understand, I'm talking about after he knew these messages from this young lady were definitely not in his best interest. He cannot act like he was totally, and the fact that he produced them so quickly, he knew exactly what was going on. It's hard. I don't feel empathy for him because he knew that was what her interest was. So August 2024, you better crave it, because you're going to be stuck with it for life after you put a big black baby in me. Okay, Mo, do you want to come on as well? You and Ryan, because we can talk about this, because I just don't believe that it's fair. I'm sending you the link as well. I don't believe that we can call him a victim. He's having conversations with this woman like this. That's not victim. She says, only if you put that gravy in, babe, if you put that gravy baby in me, then you can do whatever you want to me. So he knew okay. Why did he think she would want to get pregnant? Are you guys, are the people that are supporting it suggesting that she just wanted a baby? It sounds very much like kink, as Ryan mentioned. She's saying, I want a big black baby in me. He knows that means so that she can get money. He's not exactly. I agree, Jacob. He should have known better. Not just he is almost 60. He's almost 60. He was in the NFL. He's been famous for the better part of his life, for the last 40 years. And he is, listen to this. Okay. In many cases, money was initiated by her with specific and graphic requests. Contrary to the allegations she makes in her lawsuit, consensual sex continued until January 2nd, 2025, the day after she asked for $25,000 per cheek, as quoted in the above. So that's when he cut it off. That's when he cut it off. But she is definitely he's not. I do say fair exchange is no robbery, but I don't think that's fair exchange. You all, please help me welcome my good friend Ryan.
Hey! Oh my God! I just happened to be on Facebook, and I'm like, Christal was doing the damn thing.
Ryan, I can't wait to hear your weigh in on this, because I know, you talk about news. You have a news show yourself. And I saw this happen today, and I thought, oh my gosh, I usually just talk about Real Housewives and television reality, but seeing this play out in real time, I think there's a lesson to be learned on all sides here. So first, I want to hear from you from a man's perspective. What is your thoughts on First, the negotiations for $100 million. 3 days later, lawsuit for $50 million.
I mean, 50 million for any allegations is absolutely insane. I think that people are seeing the Diddy Cassie case and using that as a model for these types of situations.
Right.
And, I mean, of course, we want to, give our attention to any alleged victim.
Right. Absolutely.
But considering the details that you talked about, the kinks, the alleged kinks that are in play, it's absolutely insane. I mean, a lot of these guys, and I have to tell my brothers this, what you do is going to get you caught up. Well, whatever you say in the DMs, whatever, it may seem like it's fun at the moment, but it can be used against you. And the screenshot police will get you, and what you say will be used in court. Now, I think you brought up a really good point about, why are these, if these victims, especially with, these cases, why are they charged for civic cases instead of criminal cases?
Right.
But it's absolutely crazy. I think that Shannon Sharpe, he's become a really prolific voice, and the fact that he has this major deal coming into play, it speaks to how big his profile has become over the last year as a commentator. Because it's at some point I'm just like, wow, he has become the person that we go to. Like we look at, even if for journalists like you and myself, he's the person that we can go to. I'm like, oh yeah, that was actually a really good interview. And we're seeing this trend of celebrities wanting to be interviewed by other celebrities. And he's been able to crack the code. I mean, I'm sure his producing team has a lot to do with it. He asks some really good, he always seeing his questions ready.
He does. The thing I respect about him is, and I feel like this is the case with a lot of athletes, he does his homework. Yes. And you can tell that he studies, because he'll pull up things, and and that's something that journalists do, not necessarily bloggers, but journalists, really do their homework. And so I recently, before all this happened, the last interview I watched, which was very good, was him and Damon Wayans. Damon Wayans revealed a lot of stuff that made me like,
and he doesn't open up at all.
He does not open up. And the stuff that he opened up about did not necessarily make him look great either. So it was like, it was honest. It was honest, at a fault, so
but not salacious.
Not salacious, right. But and that's the thing. Shannon manages to have conversations that don't feel messy, but feel authentic, and also just feel very like cathartic almost. It feels like you're there. And I don't even think it's kind of like, he has the liquor there, but that's not even really a piece of it. That because you never feel like he took advantage of anybody, Yeah. So
I mean, we don't. For one, Christal, I love what you do. You always come with an honest perspective, and you already know. But
for love.
But yeah, I mean, it really takes a certain type of level-headed person to not try to interview for shock value and not try to have people in a gotcha moment. You can still have a conversation without putting people in an uncomfortable position or making them just make it in a negative. Like, I think that what Shannon Sharpe has done, he's been able to at least present a discourse, but it's not too crazy.
Right.
It's the people presenting themselves that's like, okay, we got people weighing in on both sides.
Yeah. And I said earlier, I feel like he owes a lot of this to Cat Williams, because I think Cat Williams had an assignment. He knew what he wanted to do. He had a lot of things to share, to get off his chest. Shannon provided an open, safe space, and it just went from there.
Absolutely. That was insane. I mean, that was the moment.
That was the
moment. From there, he got
I think in 2024, I feel like that Cat Williams interview with Shannon Sharpe was the biggest moment of 2024. It surpassed the presidential.
Yeah,
to me, because it was sure. It set the tone.
It definitely set the tone with the culture, and it's still a meme. It's still, I mean, it's everything that came out of that, and it just shows that you can have those conversations and still reach the culture without selling out or being something else.
Yeah, I want to ask you something because I know I want to flip to Housewife because I got some more tea. So I want us to talk about this. I'm happy to have you on here.
I got my hat for the rodeo.
I love it. I love it. My last question before we wrap this part up is, do you feel like this is a turning point in the way cases are handled? Because for so long, you know, I've been a celebrity publicist. That's how you and I met. You were doing news. I was bringing clients through there. And for so long, something would happen with a celebrity. We would have someone would sign an NDA, or we would pay them off quietly and everything would go away. But at this point, we see the Me Too movement has shifted that and people are speaking up. But then also in this situation with Shannon Sharpe, and there's been a few other situations where men have said, hey, I'm not going to allow that. I have a side, where before we would advise male clients to just pay because they were going to look really bad in the media if they tried to fight back, because we don't want to victim shame, to keep from being caught up in looking like, you know, womanizer or being, you know, chauvinistic. Let's just pay this person off. But we've seen slowly but surely men have started to clap back. And I think I remember there was a situation with Chris Brown, and he was accused of rape, and a girl, and he released text messages. That case was dismissed. And in this situation, this situation was Shannon's lawyer releasing these text messages. I am wondering, are we going to start to see men who in times past would have just paid it off say, wait a minute, I'm going to stand up for myself and I don't want to be a victim?
I think that right now we're dealing with the court of a public opinion, and that can be so much more damaging to the artist's or the entertainer's image more than anything. Because before the court date, we see with Diddy.
Hold on, I got my Dating Diaries co-host Scorpio Mo has entered the building.
What's up, Scorpio Mo? Yeah, I definitely think that the case for the court of public opinion has changed the trajectory of how we view cases moving on, because people will cancel. We're dealing with cancel culture. People will have their brands and whole lives ruined when, you know, people deserve their fair chance at court. And, you know, this isn't back in the day when people could just be silenced and be paid off. You know, there are so many damages that comes along with this. You know, we talk about somebody like Chris Brown. You know, he's been dealing with this type of backlash from something that he did or didn't do from many years. And Michael Jackson, and even you see recently with Jay-Z. You know, so many people are saying like, well, you shouldn't have said anything, but at the end of the day, who else is going to defend you but you?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Jay-Z, that was he immediately addressed it. I'm not going to let you run me off. We didn't do this. And I don't know, in that situation, you know, there weren't actually text messages, but I did appreciate the fact that men should not necessarily be victim. I don't think anyone should have to be a victim. If someone is lying on you, you have a right to say so. I just think for myself, the situation with Shannon is kind of difficult to have empathy for him, because you did know what this young lady's intent was. And whether you thought you could outsmart her, or you felt like your money and your clout and your fame made you invincible, you're going to learn today that you're going to have to go back and forth with this. Now, I know Scorpio Mo is chomping at the bit. He's chomping at the bit.
I just got one more thing to say about this. Okay. Considering the things that have been presented about this Shannon Sharpe situation, the text messages and the kinks and all the alleged things that have happened, and considering, you know, that you mentioned the Instagram Live, and it's just like, these are the most kind of like random things that have come out about him. And it almost makes you feel like, okay, is it a stunt?
Right.
Or is this like a real thing that happened? Because even when the Instagram Live thing happened, I'm just like, how did you not know you were going live, specifically live on Instagram? When you go live, there's like a 3, 2, 1 button that lets you know that you're going live. You have to hit a button. Like, well, what is going on? And I think about this lady, she had her last bit of collard greens on Easter Sunday. She decided to file a lawsuit.
Right after the negotiations. I mean, I would be remiss not to say there was negotiations for
one cheek at a time.
a television show years ago named Empire, and Jussie Smollett as Dave Chappelle.
Exactly. We see a lot of strange things.
A lot of strange things. Mo, I know you got something to say about Shannon.
Yeah, I think it's mighty funny. The timing of it. I don't think this one was a setup. He's up. So it's not necessary at this point. I think it's real. I think it's a shakedown. I think there's someone behind her. I think some a while ago.
Right.
And we're all starting to see it unfold now after the negotiations went sour. But I think a lot of the kink stuff, that's a personal thing. It's not against the law to be kinky.
But the racial stuff, I just want to ask both of you guys, like the racial comments though.
I don't know what people's fetish are.
And that's the thing. I think that the kink era is very much alive and well. It's cross-generational. And I think that we're seeing something now that, people are just doing what they do.
But can I just ask you guys, I understand that. And I said, I'm fine with everybody getting down however they want to get down. But it seems to be a bit hypocritical when you want to be the first to cry about Black men being treated unfairly. And your kink is allowing non-Black women, focusing on preferring non-Black women that are going to talk about I want you to put a big Black baby in me
with the gravy baby.
Like, I just have a problem with you later calling a race card, because you remember the issue with him and Skip, right? And Shannon has been very, very vocal about racial discrimination. So it's cool over here, but it's not cool over here. Like, when is it cool? Is it cool for you to be called a big Black? Because to me, a big Black baby, there's a lot of racial connotations to that, right? You get what I'm saying, right? Like, that feels very Mandingo-ish. That feels very sexualized. It feels very like.
We know it.
Okay. Just say it.
This has been confirmed to be a Caucasian woman, correct?
Well, I don't think Gabriela Zuniga is a sister. I'm just saying.
Right.
I gotta stop laughing. This is crazy.
Like a lot, but I don't know.
And I also want to say we say allegedly and we try to be objective, but no African American woman, or I don't even think a woman necessarily, a Black woman is going to say, I want you to put your big Black baby in me. It would kind of be redundant.
Ice game.
Mo.
Yeah.
You tried it, Mo.
That's a very good point.
I don't know, but a lot of it doesn't. I think he's smart for saving everything and doing all. Listen, at this point, you have to damn near ask for permission for everything. You don't know who's who, especially at that. Where he's
not talking about asking for permission. She is saying, I want $25,000 per cheek. You are going to be stuck with me when I have this baby.
No. What I'm saying is, in any relationship, he's a target no matter where he goes at this point. Any celebrity, mind you. So if you're at where he's at in media, and you got to think about it. And I've had this conversation. I think you and I, the biggest podcast, I don't know if people understand, are ran by people in their late 40s to mid 50s. Not streaming, they podcast. And here's this man retired, he pivoted into broadcasting, and then he came into this space, and all eyes are on him, getting interviews other people could not get. I'll put it to you this way: he is Arsenio Hall right now.
He's bigger than Arsenio Hall, honestly, I think.
And what Arsenio Hall was then,
right?
This platform that people want to go on.
Yes.
And it's only been a year since Cat Williams been on there, a year and a few months since Cat Williams, because that's when it really skyrocketed, correct?
That's true. That's why I said I think a lot of the success was due to that because of the fact it was a safe space, and because he's able to, for Kat to come and be able to be honest and just comfortable and just keep talking like he did. And then, he has people that Damon Wayans isn't sitting down with nobody.
Yeah.
Not like that. He's doing promo for that pop show, but that's it. He's not having real family discussions. Chris Brown having real, this show is the culture right now. So anyway, we'll follow that.
And to add to your point, he kind of addressed the interracial dating part because he has gotten some
flack for that.
Some flack for not dating black women, and he's like, "Well, I had a child with a black woman." Da, 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 da. So it kind of lets you know where he's at right now.
Yeah, well, I would just say, me as a black woman, I hate when athletes say stuff like that. Just say that's not your preference and take the backlash.
I don't understand it. I just seen Elise Neal. I've seen someone else say they had a season of white men. And we don't get that. And I don't see anyone, woman or man, up in arms about any of this. I had a season where it was nothing but white men when I lived in New York. I just seen Elise Neal say that.
Well, sorry for you all. Okay. We have had to deal with this for as a part of our history, hearing that black women, when a man gets to a certain level of success, that an average black woman, unless she is biracial or something, is not good enough. So let's don't act like that's not all part of our history. We don't know that. I hear that we as sisters have just now decided that because we've been so loyal, we're sick of it, and we have decided to start, going out and enjoying the rainbow. Good for us. And I say that we should continue to do that. But when a person that is the hue of Shannon Sharpe, and whose family is the hue of Shannon Sharpe, prefers someone who is not that hue once he gets to a certain level. A lot of rappers, athletes, when they're broke or when they're just starting, of course you got a black baby mama, because the white girls weren't checking for you then. Gabrielle Zuniga didn't want you then. That's after the money comes, and she wants $25,000 per cheek. So you may have to run her that.
I bet you in college and in high school, y'all ain't want that. Yeah, y'all ain't want his black ass then.
I don't know that.
I mean, come on, man. We
have no proof of that, because Shannon Sharpe said he's always been fine as frog hair. So a black woman is always going to enjoy a man with a nice shoulder, a nice six pack. I'm always here for
it. At the age he was, if you do the math, they weren't in style. So
Hey, you're there said we could not understand him.
Y'all were all liking these brothers because at the age he was, when he was in high school and junior high, they were not the flavor of the month. Don't play that game. Come on.
I don't know any of that. I know football players were always the flavor of the month where I was from.
Come on, man. Y'all know y'all wanted
Ryan. I'm asking Ryan. Hold on. I'm asking Ryan to break the tie. Ryan, have you ever seen in the history of Negrodom, have you ever seen football players not be the flavor of the month?
When they broke?
I feel like I will say, I feel like as you are coming of age, that is the preference. Is that fair to say?
That is the preference.
So we just gonna act like the Albie Shores of the world and the El DeBarges were never on top of the world.
But I mean, that's different because they're still black.
Thank you, Ryan.
No, what I'm saying is at the same time, we talking about his black ass.
Wait. Let me just pull it up. Let me pull it up for reference. We talking about, hold on.
Let me get a high school picture of him. Let's see that picture.
It probably looked better. Because it's right here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. And you remember that meme that went around with him with that knapsack under his arm? I don't know. That girl, them 19-year-old girls, the point is, Mo,
I will say this. I will say this. Anybody that is seasoned, and whether you're a man or a woman, if you're messing with a young person, chances are they're gonna want some money.
Chances are that's what they're there for.
They come to get some money, whether you a man or a woman, the younger person, the YN or YG, they come in to get some coins.
I mean, he cannot be a victim when he knows no 19-year-old girl wants a big black baby gravy in her, unless there's some money attached to that gravy.
You're making me uncomfortable saying those.
Well, I mean, that's what the text message said.
And it could be a thing where people don't really be knowing who they're dealing with. So
Ryan, they do know who they're dealing with.
She allegedly could have been crazy this whole time.
True.
And there could have been signs, and he just ignored them.
He ignored them because he likes that look, and he feels like it's better. So is it better? I don't know. He'll have to be the judge of that after he pays his lawyer fees for this situation.
You sound like you happy.
I'm not happy. I am speaking from an objective standpoint. I am just saying that, you know what, like I told you before, fair exchange is no robbery. If a man wants a woman for her youth and beauty and not for who she is as a person, and she wants him for his money, then there has been no robbery. There has been no harm.
20 million? Fuck out of here. What?
So you're trying to say that, first of all, Ryan, excuse me while I have to get with him, okay? Excuse me while I have to get with him. Okay, money is one thing, but your body is something else. My body is valuable. So you're trying to make it seem like him wanting to use her body, because obviously hold on, Scorpio Mo. First of all, she asked him, she said, once you put the baby in me, then you can do whatever you want to me. So obviously that was in response to him saying he wanted to do something nasty that probably she didn't want to do, right? So you're saying that her body has no value. His 20 million versus her body. To me, you cannot replace this. 20 million can come and go. Your body is your body. So it's fair exchange, and it is no robbery. Now she may feel her body is worth more, but guess what? So did he.
You're taking that serious. No one believes nasty talk. This should be admissible in the court of law.
It is admissible.
She turns it into that.
I bet you
found that lawsuit.
Yeah.
I said a lot of stuff I don't mean under that circumstance.
Well, you know what? We may have to sue you too. Okay, you may be getting.
Bye, Christal. Bye. Bye.
Take him out of here. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Ryan, let's pivot.
Yes.
Let's pivot because you said you watched last night.
Yes. Are we going to Nashville?
We could go to Nashville, but we're gonna have to go. Well, I'm going right here with this one right here because I got this girl right here is going to make me have to. I am not with it. I'm not with it. I'm not with it. I
feel like the Libras in us to pick that up from a mile away because, I am sick and tired.
What in the hell?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start early. Let's start with Nashville.
Yeah, reel me in.
Portia's birthday party that's all about me. All about me.
Yes.
Let's talk with that. Your take on the very forced birthday trip to Nashville, sans Drew.
Yeah. I feel
Angela
like
was late for.
The biggest pivot for Portia's, she's the alleged anchor for this season, and she wasn't a lot. It's not really given anchor. It's given.
I think Shamia is the anchor in my book.
I'm loving Angela.
Are you?
I'm loving. I do. Something about Angela is just she has good energy. But yeah, I feel like Portia. She's been. I heard that they were having issues filming because she wasn't allowed to film in her house, and Simon put the gag order and the lawsuit, and they kind of like presented some of that. Yes. So I feel like we didn't really get to get Portia in her element the way that we needed to.
Meanwhile,
and all the drama.
Shamia is in a $9 million estate.
Yeah.
Estate. And to me,
beautiful.
It is beautiful. But you know what? It is beautiful. But I talked about in a few articles how, Housewives is all around materialism, right? But Shamia actually is more personable and seems more layered.
It feels more humble. Yeah.
Which allows me to see her as an anchor more so, because she's just more layered as a woman. Portia, I know she's gonna look great. She's gonna get the looks.
Yeah.
But there's not gonna be a lot more there, right?
Yeah.
But Shamia has all the materialistic trinkets that make the show what it is. Yeah. But she also has, there's just more substance there.
It's more substance. It's multi-talented. She's playing to the camera. She's giving us the opulence of what Housewives is supposed to be. And and she's funny. Like, she has great commentary. She's great. She's a great storyteller. And for so long, it's really interesting because she's kind of been Portia's friend this whole time.
Friend of the show, the Robin to Portia's Batman.
Yeah, and her personality has really shined. I'm glad they gave her a chance. I'm really glad, for one, they gave a lot of the new girls a chance.
Okay.
But I think that Shamia was definitely a hidden gem. The fact that she had all of this going on in the back end. Mm-hmm. And like, it's not like Portia ever been like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to Shamia's house on an episode. And we saw all of this stuff. And it makes you wonder, like, okay, what was the reason behind that? Did she not want to outshine her? But apparently Portia's husband didn't really want cameras around. I mean, Shamia's husband didn't want all that camera stuff around. And I get it. They didn't have to. Yeah. But I think that, the producers, they didn't know what to do with the show. The show was on hiatus for so long. And they needed to come out swinging. And Shamia is bringing it. She had a little mean girl shady speak, and then she wrote the olive branch. So she's giving you balance. She's giving you so many different things.
That olive branch didn't have any leaves on it, though. So I was a little concerned about that olive branch because she went very quickly to the olive oil. She went very quickly to the nose from the 99, which was hilarious. And then she did the olive branch, but it was just a very
yeah, I feel like that olive branch is going to come to the reunion. That was just really clever and sweet of her, and it lets you know that, okay, she can bring humor. She's not going to be petty and just drag it out for episodes and episodes.
Right.
Like you know who.
I can't. I am irritated with that. Now, okay, first let's talk about. So we said the new girls. So you like Angela. Okay, let's talk about Angela. What is it that you like about? I haven't really. My jury is out on Angela so far. My jury is out.
Okay.
She definitely is going through peri or menopause, which is okay.
She's always got her fan.
She has her fan, and that's okay.
I just feel like she has some of those qualities of former housewives, the opulence, but also she is not afraid to go toe-to-toe with any of the girls.
She's not, because she's a grown woman.
She's a grown woman.
Yeah.
And apparently she has a size 12 foot and she stands 10 toes down on those things.
I'm always afraid of girls with them girls with them big old feet like that.
Yeah,
and they're really tall.
And she's like besties with Wendy Williams. And, I just feel like she is, for so long, I don't know if this is going to sound crazy, but there's been a lot of housewives that weren't really housewives.
Facts on facts on facts.
I'm like, okay, you're on the show, but you're not really a housewife.
You're not even close.
You're not in a relationship. You have situational relationships that you're trying to bring into your storyline.
And you're trying to force us to believe that we know are not true. I will say, because I'm a fan of Kenya Moore, and I will say Kenya fits that bill, because when she was brought onto the show, Kenya had no man. Kenya Moore hair care. She had hair. She had no man.
For sure.
But she did, and it didn't even feel, when she had Walter, it just all felt like
A fake engagement.
A fake everything. Even to the husband, it felt very forced. Like, I want a baby. I want to be able and yeah.
You know what I think it is for me? Honestly, I get the vibe that Kenya, she has her housewives persona.
She does.
But when it comes to her personal relationships, she didn't allow people in.
Yeah.
And I mean, the good thing is that her character and personality was able to shine past that, but we didn't never get any of that.
Never. And
I'm just like, the show is called Housewives, not, you know.
That's true. And I feel like they tried to bring, at least with Angela, and I think that the intent with Britt was to bring a housewife. However,
now what happens in these relationships, we don't know.
Well, let's talk about it. Okay, let's talk about it, because today, and there's a blogger that I do not necessarily ascribe to her content, but I did have to listen to some content that she put out today, because she was talking about Britt. Now, I've been very clear, Ryan, that let me just lay out my thought process before we get into the husband situation that was brought out today. Britt, okay. Let me see how I want to say this. How do I want to? Okay, Kenya. I like Kenya because she's smart. You know me. You've known me for years. I like a smart girl. Yes, it's great to be pretty, but you got to be smart. And I like a girl that's smart. And I think a part of being smart, if you're going to be on reality television, means that you don't do anything that jeopardizes the bag, the situation. You know, you're here for reality TV. You understand your boundaries. So when the new girls, the newbies came on, except for Angela, because I feel like Angela's a grown woman. She didn't feel like she had anything to prove. She said, my husband is a celebrity. My DMs are always popping. Like she already has that credibility. I feel like Britt and Kelly were both trying to prove, let me prove I belong here. Let me start some stuff to let me do something to go at the OGs to prove I belong here. I feel like Britt had it out for Kenya, because Kenya is that girl. You can't say she's not. She's gorgeous. She's intelligent. She's been there for 13 years. She's that chick. Portia is flawless, beautiful. Just gorgeous. So I feel like Kelly went for Portia, and I feel like Britt went for Kenya. And I feel like that was their way of trying to stake their claim to the show. So understanding that, because initially you see out the bag, Kelly is going after Portia for what she did with Fallon and Simon, which has nothing to do with her. Do I agree? Yes, but girl, it ain't your business. You know, were you a battle and stay out of that?
How did that become your battle 4 years later?
Like you're just picking up this battle and throwing mud. We don't know you. We don't know you. Same thing with.
It was giving fan.
It was giving both of them. It was giving fan. I've been sitting home watching. Now I'm here. I don't feel like I'm on your league, but I'm trying to throw rocks to get you to show me some attention. And that's something that Kenya does not play. So Britt tried to throw rocks to get Kenya's attention. Kenya will pay you dust. And that's what she did. Now, for anyone assuming this is my wedding ring, right? So my wedding ring is the diamond for my engagement, and then the wedding band. Anyone would assume without a band, with just a diamond, that's an engagement ring, traditionally. Now I'm open to new things, and we all do new things, but let's don't act like a simple, if I had this, which is just with the diamond in the middle, that looks like an engagement ring. So when Kenya asked, was that an engagement ring?
It was a fair question.
It was a fair question.
But she got so offended. I can't believe you asked me that question. Are you serious?
So she went, but she was just trying to find a reason to have to get Kenya's attention. It's like the little sister that's not as cute, that just wants the big sister's attention. Just show me some. And she's like, "Girl, you're not even on my level yet."
And Kenya was like, "You want your moment? You want your moment?
Go get it. Go get it." But I will say this, Ryan. You live in Atlanta here, right? You have a show that focuses on Atlanta and what's going on, Peach Pop. You know, our city has gone through a huge change. Gun violence is a huge issue here. So in my opinion, for Britt to make that statement about she keeps her gun on her for girls like Kenya, that was out of bounds. Ma'am, you have not even been here for a month and you're already talking about a gun?
Yeah.
You don't belong here. You don't know how to play. You don't know how to play in this sandbox. Go back over to Baddies or someplace else.
It was giving Baddies. It was giving Baddies. And that's not, I mean, we've seen that, okay, there it's not the first pistol reference, but it's the first time it's presented in that way, in that capacity.
Right.
And it was like, okay, it's, for one, just in general, she came on too strong.
This was the 4th episode, barely.
Yeah. And
you are making a threat like that.
And you created an imaginary beef. It was a one-sided beef until Kenya said something.
Everybody asked her, why were you that mad at Kenya? To bring a gun? Because what happened is Kenya didn't respond to her. And she said, well, can you be cordial with everyone? And she said, yes, I can be cordial with you. Well, more importantly, can you be cordial with me? And Kenya was like, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I'm
a fan of no mind.
When she did that, I feel like she should have been reprimanded. I feel like Bravo production missed the boat, right? Now let's move on to the Kenya Moore hair care grand opening, right? So what Kenya did a confessional today, and can I just tell you, it was spot on. I'm not a fan like that. You know, I'm a journalist. But can I tell you, first of all, she looked amazing.
Yeah,
she looked amazing.
So beautiful.
She answered everything. First thing is that she talked to her lawyer, consulted a lawyer. What she did was not considered revenge porn, right? And it wasn't, because the content that she blew up and shared is already out on public platforms, public porn platforms. Already, still now.
She's always been a vixen.
That's a little bit past the vixen.
It's definitely, like, I heard about her before she even came to,
right,
like before everything even aired out.
Right.
And the fact that, I mean, Kenya was wrong, and she admitted that she was wrong. I don't think that she should have been taken off the show. However, from what I've been piecing together, the producers needed some kind of shakeup to get everybody's attention. And that is why we have what we have of, like, okay, everybody kept saying, okay, the Housewives got whacked, but everybody talking about it now.
Yeah, that's true.
And the fact that Kenya has said that she's still gotten paid for this season and all that stuff, I think that it proves that, okay, the producers needed everybody's attention for this season. Yeah. And this was like the thing.
It is the thing. Now, I'm interested to see, you saw the leak that Andy Cohen said, right? You saw the leak, the leaked messages, which we don't know if they're really leaked, right? Allegedly leak, where Andy Cohen, another producer, says to Andy Cohen that we had to get rid of Kenya, and then he's like, you know, we're fine, and she's like, well, you know, we can't find other people that get the response, and he said there's lots of thirsty peaches in Atlanta, which he did not lie.
There's no lies detected there.
No lies told, but it'll be interesting to see if Kenya comes back for next season, because I think that leakage could definitely put a little bit of a rift there.
Yeah.
So I'm interested.
It's feeling like Kenya is going. She's doing what Nene didn't do when it comes to controlling her message and what's being presented out there. And I got major respect for Kenya. Like you said, she's a smart girl.
She's a smart girl. She did not react emotionally. She reacted strategically, and I live for a smart girl.
Yeah.
I love it. Smart is, you can't have beauty and no smarts, because you walk around like Portia Family Matters, just doing stuff doesn't make any sense. Like, it just didn't make any sense.
It's like, you can just tell that Kenya Moore is still from that class of entertainers that believe in, like, okay, no, we got to do this right.
Yeah.
And I think that, I don't know if she's going to return back to the show. I feel like she has been pointing the finger at Bravo, and I don't know how they'll feel about that.
Yeah.
But also it kind of felt the portrayal of how she was presenting herself on camera up until she blew off her lid. She wasn't really fazed with anybody. She was in her.
Yeah.
She wasn't for the antics. Like she wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm Kenyan and I'm a housewife, but I don't have no man.
Right.
Twirl, twirl, twirl. She was just like, oh yeah, I'm trying to do this for my daughter and I'm trying to get my beauty salon together. It wasn't shade, but we know that Kenya can bring it.
She can, but like she said in her thing, it was 30 minutes to the point, straight in, straight out, got to the point. Love it. Genius. But like she said, she retaliates. She does not start stuff. She could be shady, but it's always once somebody has done something at her, then she's going to definitely take it. She's going to take you there. Right. So I feel like it was a mistake on forget her and Britt. I feel like for Bravo not to correct that, that's a problem. And for her not to be reprimanded because of, like I said, like we know that the celebritydom, the Bravo sphere is huge. And so there could be a fan that hears Britt said something like that. And that's just a very dangerous thing to say.
It was dangerous all around, and it created that environment. And especially, leading up to the production, we kept hearing about, why did Kenya get kicked off the show? So to see how it played out and to see, it does feel one-sided, and it does feel like, okay, we see that Britt has a problem with her mouth, and she's reckless.
She's reckless, and she also has a problem, perhaps, with her home. So that came out today, which I'm going to tell you, Ryan.
And she could be a pathological liar like Drew.
Yeah. But I don't think, but there's no issue with being a pathological liar on Housewives. Drew has continued to be there every season. The lies get more ridiculous. Mia Thornton is, I think, the biggest liar on Housewife history.
Yeah.
And she's a reckless liar. I did say today, I wrote an article. This
is your next Collider article.
It is. We do not need Mia in Atlanta, because she put up this big post today saying Atlanta, she makes history. Look out, Atlanta. Girl, you can't even make the grade.
They're going for a certain kind of.
That's not it, darling. You can't stand next to. So in Potomac, she was kind of like the odd man out. Atlanta, she can't even get with these girls. It's a total different vibe.
She's bringing it. It wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I mean, I'm not a big Potomac fan, and I've gotten to know Mia's story, but I just because you got the aesthetic doesn't mean you fit the cast.
Facts. And she does not fit Atlanta. Atlanta, like, is a whole
just
different.
Because you got fillers.
and a lot of them. And she also has
a lot of lies.
Yes. She has a size 12 shoe. But she's I'm good on her. I'm good on her. But back to Britt. So today, a blogger that shall remain nameless put out an interview, which I had to watch because it was quite interesting. Now, before this, I had heard that Britt was in a lavender marriage, right? There's a friend. I have a friend.
This is Atlanta.
It's Atlanta. And besides it being Atlanta, I mean, we all saw this photo. I don't think you get any more lavender than that. That's to me. It's lavender. It's a lavender wedding. But this gentleman came out today. This gentleman right here, Michael Cunningham, very attractive gentleman here. He came out. He had a conversation with another blogger. That's him at the gym getting it in. He's got beautiful skin. My God.
I'm about to say Korean skincare.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the glass face. He throws lifestyle parties for men on the DL. And he had receipts of Britt's husband coming to his parties. Now,
I gotta call Tyrone. Hold on.
Guys, So the lavender marriage is another term for a heterosexual woman who is in a marriage with a down low man, right? Whether that be for the money or the look of it, or his beard or whatever. So this gentleman was friends with Brett and has now come out and said that he would throw these parties. It was $30 entry fee. It's a whole lot of swinging going on. And he actually had a
freak off.
He had another freak offs everywhere. Freak offs in Atlanta, freak offs in Houston, everywhere. He actually had a receipt, a Cash App receipt from Britt's husband at 2:03 a.m. this year. I don't know what you would be Cash Apping someone a $32 fee for, because he said it's $30.
Maybe a little weed.
How much of the devil's lettuce will that purchase at 2:00 in the morning?
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely what the kids say is sus.
It's sus.
It's very sus.
It may be too sex past sus.
And I will say this. Like one of those things where, like, okay, before the show aired, people have been saying this man is this man is that. And at the end of the day, I mean, everybody got their preferences. I don't think he's not the first married man to have preferences.
No.
But I will say that, what I don't remember this, but the episode when she was so traumatized from the revenge porn and he took her car shopping.
Mm-hmm.
And she was laying it on so thick, it became really awkward. I was just like, okay, what's going on here? Because it felt really inauthentic,
right?
And it kind of gave me the vibes that he was her doll. I mean, she was his doll, and I'm gonna do whatever you want. You told me I can get a car every 2 years.
Yeah.
That sounds like some kind of arrangement.
Even before that, the interactions that they had when they were talking about having a baby, it just doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a real connection. He just kind of looks at her, and then she's in character. Now, Ryan, I showed this.
That is the main. She is in character.
I showed this last week. I'm going to show this to you because you weren't here last week.
Yes.
But this is her, because I felt like she's in character all the time. When she turned at Kenya and went off, we were like, where'd that come from? It's kind of like when Nicki Minaj morphs into Roman, right? It's like the Roman morph. And then when she went off on your girl Angela at the table, it was like, read the mother room.
It's giving unstable.
What are you doing?
It's giving unstable.
It's giving unstable. It's giving, I've watched a lot of Nicki Minaj and I want to be like her. Or this is a video of her with...
She wants to be a meme so bad.
She does, but this is her with Stevie J. Someone else mentioned Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. This is her with Stevie J years ago as they are doing a reality show about being a penthouse pet.
Doing the first reality television show, and it's called Penthouse Pets. You know what I'm saying? We'll find the next Penthouse Pets, 8 of them, 8 cities. 8 mansions. You know what I'm saying? 20 to 30 ladies each.
Now I'm gonna have my whip.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's about last
what was the title you came up with?
The sexy curator. So I'm the pet wrangler.
Yes.
The sexy curator, indeed.
That is very telling.
On a number.
Her behavior has been consistent from the time that she was a teenager up until now. Yeah. Nothing has changed.
Nothing has
changed. It's always been given sex kitten.
I'm gonna get my whip. Very much like read them like she is.
Yeah, that's
unhinged, indeed.
Unhinged. Yeah, I mean, producers knew what they were doing. They casted her, and she is fully aware of her past.
Right.
It just sucks that, or it could. I mean, this could have been. I mean, we don't know the conversations that were happening behind the scenes with Kenya. Kenya could have been like, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Boom, 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 boom.
That's true. That's true. I don't think that Kenya could work with her though.
Yeah.
I don't know if Kenya could actually initially work with her. My thing with Britt, I think she's going to be the butt of the joke a lot because she doesn't have the emotional maturity to really do that.
And
I also want to say, she mentioned this whole last night's episode, she was in victim mode. She wants pity, for the fact that Kenya did this. But with that, first of all, you were walking around with Stevie J, going to be a penthouse pet. All this stuff is out already. This had no bearing on your insurance career. It's so fake. It's so fake. And nobody's really giving it to her. Like, she's trying to get this sympathy. Not even Kelly.
Yeah. And I mean, you bring up a really good point because, okay, it was kind of like how she presented herself. Everybody knows when you sell insurance, you can get into all the A-list parties. And I'm just like, well, am I missing something? Because when do insurance agents...
When is the insurance going to happen? When is the insurance coverage happening?
Yeah, like what is this? I mean, I guess she could have a high-profile clientele, but
did you buy an insurance policy from Britt?
No,
I don't think anyone.
And there's just holes in her stories, and that's why I'm glad that Angela, Supreme in Training, is called her out respectfully. And now there's reports that she had a falling out with Kelly. It just seems like she's that problematic. It seems like she wants to be like Kenya, but she doesn't have she doesn't have the substance.
No. And I don't even know. She wants to be.
She wants her moment.
She wants her moment. We saw that back with the Penthouse Pet. And Penthouse is a girly magazine, correct?
Yep.
So Penthouse Pet would be more of showing your body, doing more things like the webcam, like she was doing before. That she's so. Can you imagine? Like, girl, yes, that's what you do. That's what you do.
And the thing is, at least from the production perspective of what we're seeing, she hasn't showed us that she's this insurance girl. She hasn't showed us like, oh yeah, this is me at work. This is me closing the deal. This is how insurance helps. She gave us a personal story about how, like, her dad, she gave us that personal story, but that was it. I'm not seeing the legitimacy of her being this high profile insurance agent.
I went to an event. I went to one housewife event. I didn't go to the Kenya Moore thing because I had another event and I just didn't feel like getting all dolled up. I should have went. That's one thing I was like,
good. It would have been good.
Oh man, I would have brought y'all back the tea. But I did go to another event. That was hers. This is before the show premiered, when they were filming. And it was at the steeplechase. And you know me, I love a good horse event, right? So it was a steeplechase, and it was her event. Her publicist invited me, and she was premiering her new body Skims. It was kind of like a low budget Skims, but there weren't any there. There were pictures, and she came in an outfit that did not look like she was selling any insurance or had any insurance. But she is revealing a Skims line or some type of body shaper thing. It's called like something like Naked.
It's so interesting to watch, people that want to get on TV, they want the instant fame, they want the instant success, they want to give this illusion of what has already been done by people like Kim Kardashian. Mm-hmm. And, it's interesting that's her model. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is, it's like you said, when she comes across like, okay, this is how I think that I should be perceived by being on this show. And when it comes to that, it's just something inauthentic about it. It's good TV, but I don't think that it's going to be lasting much after this season.
Right.
If not, she'll be a friend of the show. It just seems like she's she's the shock factor of the season. Despite Kenya being kicked off, it's like, okay, what's the most ridiculous thing that she's going to wear or do or say within these episodes? And I get it. Like, she looks good. I watch what happens.
I will say this. She's gorgeous. I'm not a hater. She's gorgeous. She actually looks a lot like a girlfriend of mine. But my girlfriend is smart. My girlfriend is smart also. But she looks a lot like a girlfriend of mine.
Yeah.
But she's very pretty. Kelly has some shit going on too, though. Because I wanted to also share this with you, Ryan. Also, Kelly, her divorce from her husband, there was some fraud. And I'm not laughing because of the fraud. I was laughing because when I saw a picture of her husband, right? I didn't pull it to share. I'll share it next time. Her husband is kind of like Gordon and Mia. So she had this older husband that looked like she married him for his money, and then the money turned out to be fraudulent. And I just was taken aback when I saw the picture because she's a tiny little spitfire of a thing, right? Mm-hmm. And the husband, definitely she was in it for the money. But he actually had to go to jail.
That's what's not being said. I thank you for presenting that, because while I don't know what everything that happened in that relationship, but you was with this man forever long, and y'all had this business together. And while the things happen in court, I just don't get a real vibe that everything is being presented accurately.
Well, there's some new tea.
Okay.
There's some new tea in that she owes over $100,000 on this lease. So the husband obviously was doing some fraudulent things, but what came out recently, and I'll have more this coming week, is the person that she has the lease with for Nana's Chicken and Waffles. Because I kept, we live here, so we've heard of Nana's Chicken and Waffles for a while. And I heard there were other people involved. And I was sort of like, but I don't understand what's going on. Like, what is really happening? So according to some paperwork I saw today, the landlord, she had a lease up through, I think, 2026. She is in default and has done a lot of things that she was not supposed to do with that property, right? So when you're leasing something, you don't actually own the building. You have to get different things okayed with the landlord before you do it. So it's feeling like the fraud wasn't just one-sided. This is, yes, the one buying 17 purses.
For her daughter.
17 purses.
And she just happens to have a stylist with her at all times. And
17 designer bags for your 17-year-old daughter is mad.
And that's the part to me that felt, I got to watch the trajectory of Nana's Chicken and Waffles over the last couple of years. And I was just like, I've seen the evolution, the facial, everything changing, everything shifting. And when she got it going on. She did that.
Yeah.
And I love her confessional looks. And I think that.
See you.
Well, I like that little diamond situation with the fur. I was like, okay, you did that. But everything has been very opulent in terms of like, okay, does it really require that? And you look at somebody like Shamia got it like that, but she ain't trying to put on. And it just kind of comes across that, okay, she's doing too much.
It's way too much. It's
way too opulent, but this is not Beverly Hills.
It's not landing. It's not landing. Now, it's funny because you all know Erica Jane. That's you're like, gold digger is a very common term on these shows. Now that is gold digging.
Yeah.
The way it ought to be done, right? And she did immediately drop. What they do is they get with the guy, he gets the money, they keep spending, so he has to do fraudulent things because the lifestyle doesn't make sense. And then as soon as he gets in trouble, they drop him, which is fine. Fair exchange is no robbery. He knew that woman didn't want him in the first place, but then they got to figure out what to do next. And it's like, what do you do next? So you got to get another husband. You got to do something. What are we doing? Got to get on Housewives. And so hasn't been fast enough because our rent is not paid.
I told you I got it. After I make it to season 2, I got you.
I'll get another one. Gotta get another one.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I mean, you know how you work in the business, so you know it's kind of like you fake it till you make it.
Yes.
And
hopefully you make it, because not everybody makes it. So we only see the ones that do, but there's 1,000 that don't.
Thank you. I think that for this season it works, and I think we're approaching the mid-season point, and where Phaedra comes in.
Yes.
But I think it'll be really interesting to see how Kelly falls in line with the other girls to make it into next season, because as you know, she's falling out with Britt. So
yeah, that was
it's kind of like she's trying to align herself for next season.
She's trying. They were like besties, because like, I'm trying to get on, you're trying to get on. Okay, we're on now. I'm gonna be with the OGs. I'm over here. I don't want to.
We see right through it.
Yeah, it's paper thin. It's paper thin. Well, Ryan, I have enjoyed you. Now you have to promise me something.
Okay.
And I'm gonna text you after we get off. You have to promise me that when Phaedra comes, because you know I have written about Phaedra probably more than
Yes, I loved your Collider piece about Phaedra, and she is gold. Especially when she was married to me. With y'all bitches. I'm not y'all kinds of bitches.
She said married to misery, not married to medicine. So when Phaedra comes, you have to join me, because we got to run through that.
I'm so glad that I was having a really rough day, and I'm so glad that I found your feed. I was just enjoying being in the comments. So thank you so much for inviting me. I always enjoy talking to you, and you already know.
Yes, I love you. This was so much fun.
Yes, I'm ready for Phaedra.
Mo can't dish on this. So yes, I will have you come back for Phaedra, but I'm going to send you a text, and then you and I will connect before the end of the week.
All right, Boo. You have a good one. Thank you so much for having me. Now I'll be watching the rest of it.
Okay, thanks, babe. All right. Well, that was so much fun. I love Ryan. He's awesome. He's another journalist and just such a great guy. Does a great job at everything, but especially what we do, this stuff. So I hope you guys have enjoyed tonight's discussion. I just want to say, just recapping all of this, the Shannon Sharpe situation, we're going to check back in. It's going to play out. But with this, the Housewives, I just, I'm going to continue to be honest. And I think that the whole idea of the Housewives is kind of, it's a little bit antiquated from what's popular with today's society, which is why I think that they've had so many issues with these shows. When the Housewives first came on, like 20 years ago, the idea of there being the rich housewife, it really started with the OC, right? The rich housewife that has the affluent husband that works all the time, and she has this lavish luxury lifestyle. Well, as we've seen, that doesn't really exist. Even the women that have had that lifestyle, a lot of it we see as fraudulent. Anytime you're spending at the level to do this, to look a certain way, there's holes in there, right? So I think now the influencer chick, right, is the one, and really what's promoted in society more is the girl that has her own, and she has all this, and she looks great, and she looks perfect, and she has all this. Not necessarily the housewife. The housewife is not. So you see housewives that are not really promoting the fact that they love their husbands and love their houses, and they're like, it's not the Martha Stewart type of housewife anymore. It's like, oh, I own a business, I do this. So this whole idea of housewives needs to really be repurposed to fit the 2025 landscape. And I think that's the biggest problem. And of course, you throw us in the mix with Atlanta, because Atlanta and Potomac are the ones that belong to us. That's a total different situation, because we have never really had, some of us had those households where the husband worked and the woman was at home. But for the most part, we didn't live that way. Even the women that were with wealthy men, they were active. They had boots on the ground. That's how we do. Very few of us were just sitting around, buying paint. different colors of paint for the house. Most of us were trying to figure out how to manage the money and figure out the business and that type of thing. So it's an idea that I think has kind of outlived its time. And you're right, Michelle. Michelle says Martha Stewart is not even a Martha Stewart. That's true. Martha Stewart went to prison. And if you guys watched Martha Stewart's documentary, you saw that Martha Stewart was crazy as hell, cheating on her husband and excusing her cheating ways. So you're right. Maybe there's no such thing. That was an idea that didn't even really exist. But because the age right now is all about like bringing truth and authenticity, I think that's why we see these housewife shows going to pot. Next week, I have to talk to you guys about Mia. I didn't have time tonight because we had to talk about Britt. And also Shannon Sharpe, but I definitely want to get into Mia. The thing with Britt is I think it's problematic because it just reiterates that bad behavior wins. This gentleman, this Michael Cunningham, that was friends with Britt, and obviously had to be friends with her husband because he said that he attended many of his parties, his lifestyle parties. But he was friends with Britt and said that Britt was very good at providing oral pleasure for men. That was something she excelled at. And, kudos to her. Kudos to her for that. But I just think that it's the wrong look for the housewives. Because they're still, like, if we're talking about baddies or we're talking about Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, you have a little bit more leeway. I think housewives are supposed to be a little bit more of a higher brow type situation. Maybe not. I mean, maybe not, but I definitely don't think that Britt fits in with these women. Like I said to you guys last week, if you have to talk about bringing a firearm out in episode 4, you are definitely not qualified to make it to the reunion. Hopefully she will, so we can see the rest of the season, but it's my hope that Kenya comes back. Last thing, I definitely want to congratulate Kenya again. If you guys haven't seen Kenya's Kenya's YouTube page. She launched her YouTube channel with her confessional of what happened in her own words. Very smart, very to the point, looked amazing. Actually, someone said in the comments that it was more interesting than the entire 5 episodes so far of Housewives, and I would actually agree with them. But I'm a fan of Kenya just because, like I said, she's a smart girl. She's actually accomplished, and she's really pretty. She's a natural beauty, which I think is to be, applauded. Not that, it's not that it's about beauty, but just the fact that that was what she was naturally known for. All the fillers and the fakeness, it's just a lot sometimes, But in any case, let me know what you guys are thinking. If you guys are watching this in the replay, let me know what you think. What do you think about Shannon and his Gabriella Zuniga that is in need of a big black baby for money? The gravy, all those that was wild. And to me, that whole, the text messages and everything, to me is an issue with him. That proves that he probably needs to go to some more therapy, which we all do. I was talking to a guy the other day and he was like, I think we're all on the spectrum. We probably are. Haitian Empress says, when are we discussing somebody's son? On Wednesday. We're going to talk about somebody's son on Wednesday during Dating Diaries with Mo and I. And I'm also going to bring that game that Mo accused me of being a bad person for. Ryan was awesome, El Chapa. Thank you so much for saying that. I definitely am going to talk to him about coming back to Kiki with me because, child, y'all know Phaedra. I got to talk about Phaedra when she comes. The fact that they kicked my girl Kenya off and I'm bringing Phaedra back after what she did is just going to irritate me to no end. So we will be talking about that. But as always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let me know what you think in the comments. Before you leave, make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed so you can get the notifications. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you tune back in on Wednesday at 8 o'clock for the Dating Diaries with myself and Scorpio Mo. I love you guys for watching. Make it an amazing week. This is Monday. That means you can decide to have an amazing week. You can decide to have a blessed week. Ryan, I love you so much. I'm sending you a virtual hug, and I'm going to shoot you a text for joining me. But everyone, you guys, sending virtual hugs and love your way. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Let's make it to hump day. All right. I'll see you guys then. Have a good night.